Back to the top story. Germany goes to the polls on Sunday to know what's at stake. We're joined by Ambassador Gurjit Singh. He is a former Indian ambassador to Germany, Indonesia, Ethiopia, ASEAN and the African Union. Ambassador Singh, welcome to DD India News Hub. Good to have you join this discussion, Ambassador. First off, a new chancellor and a new governing coalition. Is that what's likely?
I think, thank you for having me.
Welcome.
I think what normally happens after an election in Germany is that there is a hiatus while coalitions are formed.
Right.
Before a new government takes over. So I think the critical thing to watch after tomorrow's vote is what are the real numbers and will it take two parties or three parties to form a coalition? This time there is an urgency to form a new government because the economic and political situation within Germany, within Europe and the transatlantic alliance are all of great concern, and Germany does not have the leisure to twaddle for about a month to decide who is going to govern them next. So I think they need to step on the gas to form a coalition as soon as the election results are formally announced.
Indeed. Ambassador Singh, you spoke about the economic and political situation obtaining in Germany and outside of it as well. In that context, what can you tell us about the issues that have dominated this election campaign?
Broadly, four issues.
Okay.
First, the domestic economy of Germany is, for the fourth year running, in the doldrums. This year, in October last, they said 1.1%, and now they are saying 0.2% likely growth rate. So this is really impacting Germany. It's impacting employment, and Germany being a big welfare state, it also means that welfare measures will have to be curtailed. Second, the immigration issue. This is, across the board is a matter of concern. Almost all acts of terrorism or quasi-terrorism in the last few months are all undertaken by migrants. Even today, there was an attack on a tourist in Berlin, and that was by a Syrian youth who had got asylum in Germany. So there is great concern on immigration, and German parties are today ready to take on Brussels to say we will control borders rather than allow free flow of migrants. So from the Angela Merkel time to the CDU under Merz, it is almost a different take now. The third issue after economy and migration is the European project, which is in the doldrums because the right wing in European countries is rising, and many of them are not able to run their governments in a way that they can form a common European position. And now you come to Russia, Ukraine and the transatlantic alliance under Trump, and this is causing reverberations in Germany. Germany, a reluctant slow starter to support Ukraine, is today the largest supporter of Ukraine after the United States. If the United States pulls out, what will Germany do? This is a dilemma. Already AfD, which is likely to come second, is a Eurosceptic party, and it also is a pro-Russian party. So I think you have a lot of cleavages
Indeed.
within the society and polity of Germany right now.
Indeed. Ambassador Singh, we'll come to the European aspect or the dimension of the debate. We'll talk about Russia-Ukraine conflict and also the transatlantic relationship in a bit. But if we were to delve deeper into German domestic politics, Ambassador Singh, opinion polls suggest that the AfD party may become the second largest political group. That would be a first for a far-right party since the Nazi era. How do you look at the AfD's journey from the margins to the political mainstream?
When you look from the outside, you get the shock that AfD is rising, particularly in the former East Germany, which was communist. But when you talk to Germans, ordinary Germans over there, you find that they are just fed up of the leadership and the domestic politics of the mainstream parties. And they feel that the AFD is speaking up for their core concerns. You separate the foreign policy from this, because foreign policy is not something an ordinary German is looking at. So therefore, AFD's Euroscepticism or pro-Russian position is not something that the AFD voter is really voting for. They are voting for AFD to get immigration under control, welfare back, economy under a new leadership, and basically have a more consensual partnership within Germany as they are used to. And that seems to be wrecked.
Absolutely. Ambassador Singh, if we were to expand the ambit of a discussion to include now regional and global issues, how will the election result affect or impact European unity insofar as the war in Ukraine is concerned?
I think Germany would like to take the lead on developing the European alternative to in the transatlantic alliance. Now, this would have many elements. It would have a stronger defense posture. Chancellor Potentate Merz has spoken about talking to France within the EU and Britain outside the EU to talk about a nuclear option for Europe. So they are looking at building an autonomous defense posture for Europe. Broadly on the view that if the Americans are going to withdraw and going to make you pay for your defense, you might as have your own policy to follow rather than follow American policy. Secondly, the Germans were never the ones to dump Russia. They were most reluctant after the Ukraine crisis to dump. They always wanted the Minsk process, which was a European project, to continue. But the Americans pushed them into falling behind NATO. And now the Americans are pulling out of NATO and making up with Russia. A new German chancellor may find it easier to make up with Russia than Scholz, who led the breach, would have. So I think you should be prepared for a new chancellor to have programmatic collaboration with the AFD, despite what they say, and to have a new regional policy which will reach out to the Russians to protect Ukraine and Europe. So different nuance from what Trump is saying, and European economy needs cheaper Russian energy and they need the Chinese market. So I think those policies are now going to be brought back on the anvil for reconsideration.
Very interesting what you said there. And finally, Ambassador Singh, how would you describe Germany's relations with India? Has the ties matured enough to survive change of governments?
I believe so. I think the Merkel approach to India was continued by Scholz and continued well. And I don't see why the CDU under Merz would change that. Germany needs markets, Germany needs reliable partners, Germany needs a multipolar world, and India fits the bill on all these. During EAM's previous visit, before, not for Munich Security Conference, but earlier, I remember he did meet the CDU leader Merz. So I think there is an effort to re-engage with the CDU. The CDU, I think, where India may not be its immediate priority, certainly India in a multipolar world would be important to Germany on a continuing basis.
All right, we'll leave it there. Ambassador Singh, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts and insights with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated.
Thanks for having me.